What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with 8.5 weeks out physique update from Regan Grimes. So this is undoubtedly the best condition that we have ever seen from Regan, especially this far out of the show. I mean, just take a look at that back lat spread shot on him with that small waistline. That looks so insane right now. And how can you not mention those hamstrings on him? Probably one of the best for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. But that being said, it's also a high likelihood that he will get more or less that same feedback from the judges as he did earlier this year, to pack on more muscle, put on some more mass on his quads, on his chest, and on his arms. Now, if Regan is successful in bringing up that outer quad sweep, that in my opinion is going to make the biggest difference in his physique, especially in those front shots. Because his entire V-taper, his X-frame, that is going to be so much more pronounced. And if he shows up considerably bigger than what we saw at Cali Pro this year, the man has got all the tools to place somewhere between top 8 and top 10 at the Olympia this year, maybe even top 7. I believe the competition in this year's Olympia, especially the top 6, that is simply way too hard for someone like Regan. And as a young guy, he still has to close some gaps in his physique, especially the size gap between him and guys like Samson Dauda and Reject, and also Michael Crizo, who are also as tall and as wide as Regan. So he was top 8 the last time he did the Olympia a couple of years back. And he's gonna have to beat some very good bodybuilders to place top 8 once again. Now Regan's upper body, in that most muscular, that looks so damn huge. So what are your expectations from Regan Grimes this year? And what does he need to do in order to earn more respect, especially from the fans, as we still see a lot of hateful comments towards him even now? Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So one IFBB pro that we would all wanna see in this upcoming European tour, that is the star of Tampa Pro and Texas Pro, Joe the Machine, also known as Joseph Palacios. Now technically speaking, if he enters any of those shows, he is 100% gonna be one of the favorites to win and qualify for the Olympia. Because let's be honest here, he knocked out Quinton Beastwood at Texas Pro, and that too by quite a margin. Now if we look at the final scores, it's guaranteed that Joe is gonna smoke all the potential guys planning to compete in these upcoming European shows. And the reason I'm saying that is because when he turns around to hit the back shots, and not just one, both of them, he has that kind of density and hardness which is simply too hard to match. I mean, the guy has one of the best backs in the entire men's open right now. The chest cannot get any better than that. And Joe did not get enough credit on his abs and thigh shot too. And I'm gonna say it's just a matter of time for Joseph, because as soon as he puts on more volume, more mass on those quads, all his front shots, they are gonna become so much more dangerous and so deadly, because he's a mass monster, the ideal attachment when it comes to his lats. So from 2024 Cali Pro to what we saw this year, the changes that he made, the improvements that we saw on him, especially with his new coach Justin Compton, they were simply off the charts. And glad to see him getting the well-deserved respect and all the recognition by the fans and by all the bodybuilding experts. So Joe turned pro back in 2023. So he's among those very young pros who are just up and coming. And this is another sign for some of the veterans to either pick up the pace, bring their A game and 100%. Otherwise, guys like Joseph, they are simply gonna take over, and that too very easily. So there is an alternative scenario for Joe as well. He skips the European shows and he goes straight for the post-Olympia tour. He gets his Olympia qualification very early during the season, and then he dives into a proper off-season and focuses on the Olympia next year. Next up, we have an update from Akim Williams. So the years and years of hard training, that is the biggest contributing factor to that dense and very mature looking physique that Akim Williams has. He has that old man muscle quality that comes with years and years of training. And even if we talk about his back, there is just one shot, the one pose, the back double biceps, which is a weak shot for Akim, and that is because of a nerve issue. But overall, if we look at that back, there is a lot of density there, and that is why the back lat spread on him, that is a very good shot. So Akim is gonna be one of the most experienced guys in this year's Olympia lineup. Now the judges cannot say a single word about his conditioning because he has been one of the most consistent guys when it comes to peaking perfectly since the Arnold Ohio last year. And he also did more shows than any other pro out there in 2024. And he brought insane level of conditioning from one show to the next one. So what does Akim need to do in order to move up in those Olympia spots? Maybe higher than top 8. Personally, I think his fate is kind of dependent on some of the guys who are beating him. For example, a guy like Rafael Brandao. That shape, the structure, that is always going to stand out. Especially if both these guys, they are in that same condition. Brandao is always gonna stand out. So since Akim Williams started working with Chris Aceto, they both have done a superb job together. Akim's aesthetics have improved a lot. And the man is that ideal example of a mass monster with a crazy small waistline. So Akim was 10th at the Olympia last year. And we are all assuming that the top 10 this time, that is gonna be a lot more closer than the Olympia last year. So how high do you guys think Akim can place this year? So back in 2019, when Chris Bumstead and Breon's rivalry, that was in full swing. That was the time Breon, as the classic physique champion, was very vocal about how the vacuum is just a method utilized by many competitors out there who wanna hide their abs. I mean, just go back and take a look at how Breon was executing his front double biceps back then. So there was no vacuum back then. But that is the great thing about Breon. He evolved with the division, and that is why the man is still one of the very best in the world even now. And just by looking at his most recent updates, one can tell that the vacuums, they make one hell of a difference in making his physique look more aesthetic. As he isn't one of those guys who has the smallest waistline or who has that crazy quad sweep. So he's a true legend of classic physique and the only guy to have not missed a single Mr. Olympia since classic physique came onto the scene. And that was back in 2016. And this time the man again is certainly changing very fast. And we all know that Breon is gonna come in very polished with his trademark conditioning and detail that he just never misses. But the fact is, the more he advances in terms of his age, the more difficult it is going to be for him to stay in that top 5 because of all that upcoming talent who are all improving at such a fast pace. As of this year, we simply cannot count him out. He will be in that first call out because the man is simply always on. But let me know what you guys think. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.